Air India, British Airways, two of the world's iconic airlines. But how do their safety records stack up? Let's compare their major accidents over the last 5 decades. Air India has endured many tragedies. Here are the major ones in the past 50 years. 1978 Flight 855, a Boeing 747, crashed into the Arabian Sea after takeoff. All 213 lives were lost due to instrument failure and pilot disorientation, according to CBSNews.com. 1985, Flight 182, also known as Kanishka, exploded over the Atlantic in a terrorist bombing. 329 people were killed, making it the deadliest Air India disaster. In 2010, Express Flight 812 overshot the runway in Mangalore, which is a tabletop runway. The aircraft landed unstable and sadly 158 people lost their lives. In 2020, Express Flight 1344 skidded off the Kozhikode runway during heavy rain. 21 people were killed, and the accident was attributed to a combination of pilot error and challenging weather conditions. In 2025, Flight 171, a 787 Dreamliner, crashed after takeoff from Ahmedabad. The tragedy resulted in 274 fatalities, including both passengers and people on the ground. So, the total from 5 major accidents is approximately 995 fatalities. British Airways, by contrast, has had very few fatal accidents in, the last 50 years. In the 1976 Zagreb collision, a British Airways Trident collided mid-air. There were, unfortunately, no survivors on the British Airways flight, and the total number of dead was 176. In 1972, BA Flight 548 experienced a deep stall crash before the British Airways era. 118 people lost their lives, and this tragedy led to mandates for cockpit voice recorders. Then, in 1985, British Air Tours Flight 28 Mike, a subsidiary, caught fire on the runway. 55 people died in that incident. In 2008, Flight 38, a Boeing 777, crashed short at Heathrow. Thankfully, there were no fatalities, though 47 people were injured. Since the formation of British Airways in 1974, there have been no fatal accidents involving BA-branded aircraft outside of its subsidiaries. That's a pretty remarkable safety record, honestly. Now let's take a quick look at Air India. There have been 5 major fatal crashes with a total of 995 fatalities. The notable causes include instrument failure, terrorism, pilot error, approach and runway mistakes, and in some cases, the cause remains unknown. Air India has not had a fatal accident-free phase lasting more than 2.5 years recently. In comparison, British Airways has had 0 fatal crashes involving BA-branded aircraft since 1974, except for its subsidiaries. That means for 50 years, BA-branded aircraft have maintained a spotless fatal accident record. So why is the difference so stark? Well, let's dig in and try to understand the main reasons behind this gap. Regulation and oversight play a huge role here. British Airways operates under strict UK and EU standards, which really sets a high bar for safety. Air India, on the other hand, has historically struggled with bureaucracy and, honestly, aging fleets. These challenges have definitely impacted its overall safety record. So, after privatization in 2022, Air India has been modernizing, but, the legacy accidents still impact trust. British Airways, while not flawless, rapidly adopted safety improvements, like, for example, the FOEE fixes after Flight 38. So let's talk about incidents versus accidents. British Airways has definitely had its share of serious incidents, like engine failures and near misses, but, there haven't been any fatal crashes in the mainline brand. Air India has recorded 5 major fatal crashes since 1975, with nearly 1,000 lives lost, and the most recent one happened in 2025. On the other hand, British Airways has had 0 fatal crashes in the same period for its main fleet, though it's worth mentioning that one of its subsidiaries did experience a tragic accident back in 1985. That said, flying remains honestly incredibly safe. The chance of a crash on any commercial flight globally is just 1 in 3 million. Both airlines really do learn from tragedy. Air India is catching up, and British Airways continues to build on its safety legacy.